So for me, art is more like an explorer. I'm an explorer. I'm not a painter or an artist. I like to live in the state of inquiry. What if I do this? What if I do that? So basically, art is an understanding of space and time. So space and time do exist together. In yogic sciences, we say, does time exist? Do we live in simulation? So these are the questions, and my artwork is more to do with, everyone, like if you look at Monet worked with the flowers. How do they feel in three-dimensional way? How do Monet saw it in the different states of light? But my thing is, I like to stage experience. I don't like to stage the stage. So I like to paint what is happening inside me. So that step, moving forward, that art is not bound to any rules. At the end, art is, when you look at any artwork and you say, wow, it feels good. And so when you start exploring art is a dimension where you're challenged. This canvas, first thing, I have, like for example, look at this work. What are the faults in this work? This is, yesterday I started. So this is too literal. This space is not so correct in terms of this. So there is no, no marriage between the top and the below. So this step you do and then you wash. So it's a process of, and I'm not a trained artist. Like I've never been to any art school. So for me, the struggle was how to make an eye, how to make a nose. That took a lot of time. Because I feel if you know to do art via a technique or via a learned thing, you don't experiment much. And art is all about how much can you experiment, how further can you go when it comes down to sketching your soul. What is art is basically the time of the artist spent on the canvas. You don't buy art, you buy the man hour of the artist. You buy what was the feeling going on in his mind when the artwork was happening. So all these things keep going on, and art is very, very, challenging in terms of who you are. What is art? Who you are is your artwork. So initially you copy, you try to understand forms, you try to understand light, you try to understand color palette, you try to understand geometry, you try to understand composition, so there are things in art, different components of art. But art as a whole, till you don't break the rules, you don't get anywhere. And breaking the rule is like your art will look clumsy. And then you start evolving. So art is a process from a beggar to Buddha. You start with no skill, and over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you end up learning a lot. Every stroke which you move, if I use a soft brush, this happens. If I use a hard brush, this happens. If I use a big brush, this happens. So there is so much of learning, and this computer in your head keeps grasping. So art, you never become an artist. You're always in the process, I feel. And I feel process is more important than the art itself, because the evolution is seen in the process.